Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juliet. So in this video I will be showing you how to make a pleated vent for your pencil skirt. So here I have my fabric folded into two. I'll be showing you only the back piece. I already have a detailed tutorial on how to make a pencil skirt. I will link it down in the description box. In this video we'll be focusing on the back, which is where the vent is going to be. So on this back piece I folded my fabric using the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches of allowance and then another 11.5 inches. So here I'm marking 11.5 inches inwards from the folded end. So I've marked it all the way down. I'm using my ruler to connect the dots. So from that line, that 11.5 inches mark, I'm going to place the front piece of my skirt, which I already drafted. I'm going to place it on that 11.5 inches line, exactly on that line, and then I will trace out the side seams of the skirt, which are going to be exactly the same. Then from that center point, from that center front where we marked 11.5 inches, I'm marking 1.5 inches inwards. As you can see, that is going to be my zipper allowance. So from the top, if you watched my video on how to cut a pencil skirt, you know that we take out 1.5 inches for the band. So I placed my tape like so, and then I marked my waist to knee measurement, and then I came upwards by 3 inches. So if your waist to knee measurement is 21, you take out 3 inches and mark 18 inches. Is that 18? Yeah, 18 inches. So I'm trimming up the sides of the skirt now. So on the down part, I'm going to notch the allowance. That is where the length of the skirt is before the extra allowance. Again, if you watch that video, you understand what I did there. So here again, I'm placing my tape 1.5 inches at the beginning, and then I'm marking 3 inches above my waist to knee measurement. I'm using my ruler to connect that into a straight line, after which I will be cutting from that line and then to the zipper allowance like as shown on the screen. So that is it. I am going to cut lining pieces for both of them. First, I am notching the zipper allowance point, that is the 1 inch, the 1.5 inches rather. So here I've cut lining pieces. Like I said, I'll be showing you only the back piece. So I've cut my lining exactly the same. I'm notching the midpoint of both the lining and the main fabric. So here I will open the main fabric up and then place my lining on the right side of the main fabric, matching the notches I made at the middle. So I will take this down to my sewing machine and sew all the way down using 1/2 inch. So after sewing, I will fold over the allowance we left. Remember, we notched it. I'll fold it over like so and then iron it. So when cutting a pencil skirt, I leave about 2 inches of sewing allowance. This is what is folding into the skirt. So after ironing it in like so, remember we cut the lining exactly the same as the Ankara fabric. So now that we have folded in the same allowance, some excess of the lining is hanging up, which is what we are going to be trimming right now. So after cutting, I am going to turn the lining back to the right side and then match them to the top of the skirt, and then I will go sew around that U shape using half of an inch, like so, all the way back up. So after sewing, this is what we have. I'm going to notch that corner and the other corner as well. After that, I will turn it inside out and then give it a good press. So after ironing, this is what we have. I folded it into two. Here I'm marking 1 inch. So after turning it with the lining, our zipper allowance is now 1 inch. So I'm marking 1 inch all the way to that corner, and then from there I will measure what I have all the way from the middle, and then measure the same thing, place the same measurement on the down part, and then use my ruler to connect it. Then from that line I will continue to mark my 1 inch of zipper allowance all the way. Then I use my ruler to connect. So next I'll go sew on that line, but before then I will mark the darts as well. So for the back dart here, I'm using 4.5, which is the nipple to nipple measurement that I'm working with, plus half inch, and then the length of the dart is 5 inches long. Please note that I started marking from that zip allowance line, so I'm turning to the opposite side to mark the dart on this other side as well. Still marking 4.5 inches by 5 inches, starting from the zip line. So after sewing on the zip line and the dart, I'm going to be ironing them flat. So I'm going to turn it to the right side and also iron to make it really smooth. So next up, I'm going to fold it back into two. From the zip line, I will measure 1 inch, which is going to stop at that corner there, and then I'll measure the same 1 inch down and then draw a straight line to connect. Then from that line, I will mark 2 inches and then another 2 inches down, and then connect both points with a ruler. Then from this line now, I will measure another 2 inches up and 2 inches down and connect with the ruler, and I will continue to mark 2 inches until I exhaust the remaining space. So the remaining space here is also 2 inches, which is fine. I'm going to take it to the machine and make loose stitches on all of those lines except that first one that I marked 1 inch. So after making the loose stitches, this is what we are having. Next we will start to make the pleats. So I'm going to fold the fabric such that that first stitch is sitting exactly on the center back. So on that zip allowance line, that center, the center point, the stitch line is going to sit exactly on it. That will automatically push the excess on both sides of the center. So you see, after ironing that, the opposite side also, some excess is falling there, and equal amounts. As a matter of fact, that is why we made the stitches, so that we have pleats that are uniform. So next up, I am going to put my hand in between the next space and place the stitch on the middle again. It will automatically push some excess to the left and some more to the right. Make sure it's on the middle or in the middle. So I'm going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to put my hand in there, open it up and place the stitch on the center again. So I'll continue to iron them, placing the stitch point at the middle for the final one. So at this point it starts to get tricky, but it's doable. It was really tricky. My ruler had to help. So for this last piece, you see there's no stitch there, so we're just going to fold such that that crease for the middle is sitting on the center. So this is it for the ironing part. Our pleats are made. So next I'm going to measure from the waist to 2 inches above the knee point, which is where the slit will normally sit. So I'm going to go make a stitch across like so, a very tight stitch. So you can also make a tighter stitch at that point on the zipper allowance line before tacking it down. But before we do all of that, we're going to lose all those stitches we made, all those 2 inches we sew on. We're going to lose all of them except for the zipper allowance line, the last line on the outside of the skirt. So here I have sewn it down after losing the stitches, and this is what we have. This is the right side of the skirt. So next I will go on and finish the remaining part of my skirt, join it to the front piece, add the zipper and then the waistband and all of that. Like I said, I have a detailed video on how to sew a pencil skirt. So after doing all of that, I will go ahead to loose the back of the skirt up to that above the knee level that we stitched. So after losing it, this is the skirt. These are the pleats from inside. See how they form? They form like a kiss pleat type of appearance. All the pleats are facing the middle and they are all looking beautiful. That is it on how to make a pleated vent. Simple and straightforward. Thank you for watching, and please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you loved the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Thank you so much, you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.